first of all, very simple question. What's it like working with Mimmy?
Working with Mimmy Adventure has been so much fun. It's really exceeded my expectations. I feel like there's a lot of support with the team and kind of helping you cultivate what content you want to deliver, and then really helping you hone it in to be the best that it can be. And everybody is so encouraging and uplifting, and really seems like they enjoy not only being in the adventures and participating in them, but also kind of the work that leads up to them, and then following with feedback. So I feel like it's been a great outlet for creativity and for engagement, and to really try to develop a new skill set.
Out of interest, what kind of skill set did you gain out of doing these adventures?
I think learning how to teach yoga to kids virtually with the language barrier, because I did train to teach yoga in America when I came back from Japan a few years after I left Japan, and was teaching some kids yoga classes here. But it's really different when you're in person and you share a common language. So kind of that challenge of figuring out, how am I going to communicate breathing techniques, or how am I going to communicate, poses, or how to do certain things, or trying to, if we do a nighttime yoga class, how do I kind of engage and communicate in a way where I can bring that energy down throughout either the 10 or the 25 minutes? How do I start high and then bring them to the nighttime going to bed yoga? And that's been a really fun challenge. And I think I've really developed that skill set with the help of the staff at Mimmy Adventure.
Fantastic. That's a skill set I didn't even think about it until now, but now you mentioned it, it sounds a very good one. Yeah, it sounds a very good technique for making sure the kids finish the adventures not loud, full of energy, and annoying their parents.
Exactly, because for them, I think it starts at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And so, I don't want them to be logging on at 8 o'clock and then have kids that are more energetic half an hour later than they were.
And so this skill set that they learned about, the skill set of teaching yoga online, as well as the skill set of teaching yoga to people across the language barrier, has this helped you in any other aspects of your life outside of Mimmy?
Definitely. I am maybe in a bit of a unique situation, because I do work in the field of child psychology, and I work with teachers and helping them kind of develop skills to work with their own students. And so kind of some of the language-based ways of demonstrating, like how to calm down, or how to, get someone's attention and redirect their attention, because you have to do that a lot when you're on a virtual screen, right? Try to redirect attention. I think that's been really helpful, actually, crossing over into my day job.
And so I want to ask about your content next. So you have a few different content ideas which you do for us, the main one being your various types of yoga. How easy is it to think up these contents when you're making these adventures? I'd
say that some of them are easier than others. Some of them feel like quite natural, and it's easy to, like, once you get started. I don't think I have them right next to me, but I've got maybe 50 different cards that I've made with yoga poses on them. And then when we have a new theme, like, Halloween or something like that, trying to make new themes. And it can be a bit challenging then trying to tailor it to a specific theme. But it's a really fun challenge that I think have been able to hopefully meet each time. I've also found that maybe trying to think of something that you think someone else might find interesting, or that the kids might find interesting. So for example, last year I did one on Halloween for carving a pumpkin, but I didn't go into it thinking, oh, I'll show them how to carve a pumpkin, because I probably would think, how am I going to do that over a screen? How would I engage them in watching me carve a pumpkin? But when you start thinking about, okay, I want to do something about Halloween, what are some of the things I could do? Because of the time difference, I couldn't really record trick-or-treating or things like that. So kind of led me to, well, a pumpkin is an interesting part of Halloween. And then kind of going back from there, how can I show this in a short amount of time that it's going to be interesting for the kids watching?
So a lot of people, when they're thinking of applying to work with Mimmy Adventures, they kind of put off about doing so because they find it difficult to think of ideas, or they don't have enough ideas at the stage of applying. But do you find that it's easier to think of new ideas after you've gained experience in doing so?
Definitely, for sure. I think that when I first started, I remember really not knowing what to do. And I did balloon animals. And that was because when I lived in Japan, I had done balloon animals. And so I kind of knew how to already do that across the language barrier. So I just did the same thing, but I couldn't think of anything else to do. But then after I'd done it a couple of times, all of these ideas started coming up. And it wasn't until maybe 6 months to a year in that I even thought that maybe I could teach them yoga. And
Right.
now that's my main content and I really like it. So I would definitely encourage anyone who's coming in new and is a bit overwhelmed, because I understand how it can be overwhelming to think, what am I going to come up with? But if you just have one thing that you even kind of want to try, then if you try that, you get more experience and kind of learn the method and figure out other things that you can do. And I would also just suggest that people think about, what do they enjoy? Because if you're enjoying something and you're having fun as the adventure guide, most likely the kids are also going to really have fun too. So I say just go for it. Try something you enjoy. And even if you just have one content, later you'll think of other ones that you can do that everyone will enjoy.
A long time ago, when you first joined us, you were one of the first guides to join Mimmy Adventures, back when we were, well, we're still small, but back when we were really small. Especially being, a small company you didn't know much about. What is it that persuaded you to give Mimmy a try?
Well, I actually at the time had known someone when I was living in Japan who was working for Mimmy Adventures, so that really helped. I had some context and some a little bit of a personal connection there to kind of feel a bit more comfortable. And then when I found out what it was going to be about, doing these adventures where you're not necessarily kind of teaching a standard English lesson, but you are engaging in this, fun adventure that can be pretty much anything you want to make it. That seemed like a really unique opportunity that I really wanted to engage in, even though I wasn't sure exactly where it would go or what it was going to look like. Just that opportunity to be able to use different skill sets that you have, and to develop those further was really exciting. So I'm definitely glad that I came on board and that I gave it a try and that I have continued, because it's really is something I look forward to every week.
So what is it that the kids have learned about America, or American culture in general through your adventures?
Oh, that's a great question, Chris. I would say maybe they've learned about some holidays for sure. I've done some things about Easter traditions. Specifically, my family was really big into Easter egg dyeing, so they've got to learn a bit about that. And then I think, about Halloween, I've definitely done some things about Christmas, holiday traditions. I would love to be able to do more of kind of going around and showing them things, in the city, or we have a lot of live music here. The town I live in has a lot of really interesting festivals, but unfortunately with the time difference, it doesn't quite work out to be able to do live adventures like that. But I hope they've also learned, maybe not specifically about American culture, but just about a friendliness in communicating across culture and trying to communicate in whatever way you can. If they gain anything from it, I hope they really learn that you can have fun and communicate and engage together with someone who you might not share a lot of cultural similarities to, or a language, and you're on the whole other side of the world. So I hope if they learned anything, it's that they can do that and they can do it successfully and they can get better at it.
Do you think it's important to let the kids communicate with someone from one of the less well-known places, like your city in North Carolina?
Definitely, for sure, because like you said, you see New York or LA or, Florida, Miami, maybe on TV, and you have some sort of idea of what it looks like, but you might not see, rural North Carolina or, just someone's, office space in their house. think it's really important to show kids and the adults that come with them just all the different varieties of lifestyles and of communities that we have, not just in America, but all over the world.
So what do you think about the variety of adventures across our platform which are offered to children?
Oh, I think there's such a wonderful variety. I've actually really enjoyed sometimes going on the calendar, and when I'm looking to see if there's an opportunity for me to book something, to see what other people are doing. And I've like clicked on their descriptions and looked at them. And I know sometimes we also have the opportunity to see some of the adventures. And I feel like I always learn something. Whether it be seeing someone else at a grocery store in another country that I've never been to, or seeing a holiday festival, or seeing different types of bugs or flowers, or, this such a wide range of people bringing things that are important to them or that are in their lives that they want to share with other people. It's a really kind of beautiful tapestry of different cultures and different personalities.
How do you think that these adventures are shaping the futures of the children?
I think the adventures shape the future of the children a lot more than we realize. I think it can be easy for us as adults, especially adults who, if we have had interactions with other cultures, like I know you're not originally from Japan, you live there now. I am from America, but I lived overseas for 6 years in Japan and other countries. And so to me, interacting with people from another culture, feels normal and natural and, pretty easy usually. But I don't remember meeting anyone really from another culture till I was 16. And it was actually my brother's now wife, who's Japanese. And even me as a teenager, that was a huge thing and really was a turning point in my life, because that's how I started getting interested in going to live overseas. And I think for kids, they're growing and they're shaping their worldview so rapidly, and they're really a sponge for all of these different bits of information. And they're noticing so much that we don't even realize that they're noticing. And it's helping them see, different parts of the world, which I think we can, realize pretty easily, but it's also helping them like build confidence, and it's helping them build confidence in themselves for how they interact, but in themselves for seeing like, oh, here's this person and they're, following their something that they really love doing. Like I know the guy who, feeds the iguanas and lizards, for some kids who really love animals, seeing that can be really encouraging, that here's this person doing this and, they're loving it and sharing it with other people. And I think it just really gives an opportunity to have a lot of really positive interactions in a situation that you're not going to have in your daily life.
And so what are your hopes for the children who participate in your adventure? What are your hopes for their future?
Yeah, I think for my adventures, especially now that I've been focusing a lot on yoga, I really want to get better at it. Actually, I really want to learn how to teach that more, not just the physical poses, which is, I think, a skill I'm still building, how to communicate the more difficult poses through language barriers, but also just how they can relate to their bodies, how they can calm themselves down, at nighttime. So I hope that the kids who are in nighttime yoga kind of learn some skills about how they can breathe, or some, yoga poses they can do before bedtime if they're feeling anxious. And I'm also hoping that they learn how to maybe be in a bit out of your comfort zone and look silly with other people that you don't know, because I do think that we do a lot of really silly things, and it's fun to watch the kids' interactions. Some of them go right into it. And for example, we have the lion's breath, which you may have seen, where we sit on our knees and stick out our tongues and kind of roar almost. And some kids are really excited and they're into it and they are just roaring like crazy. And some just giggle insanely because they're really nervous. They think it's funny. And then some get really quiet and don't do it. And then you see them come back again and again and again, and they gain confidence, and then they get into it. So I do hope that they, not only learn some new skills to how to relate to their own bodies, but also some confidence for how to just enjoy themselves and be silly with other people.
I'd like to ask, what do you think, as a guide, what is the main benefits of working with Mimmy?
You know, I've touched on kind of the creativity aspect and the being able to, you know, to engage with people and develop your skills. But I also think that one of the really positive aspects is that support network. I think that it could be really easy to work for a company that's on the other side of the world and not really get to know anybody and not really know who to turn to if there's a problem or if you need advice or help. But I feel like what Mimmy Adventure does really beautifully and is quite unique is that that the people who work there are always available and to, you know, help you think through an idea or to give you feedback, or just to answer questions. And, you know, the platforms that we use to stay connected as a team, I think really build a lot of community. And there's a lot of support, even in the friendly competitiveness of, you know, maybe winning the Adventure of the Week guide, or there's so much support in that. And everybody is so excited for someone when they win. Even if I've never met the people, you know, people are still messaging you, or you're messaging someone else, congratulating them. And I think that's a really unique environment to work in.
If someone was thinking about applying to work with Mimmy Adventure, what would you say to that person?
I would say to go for it. I would definitely say to go for it, because you might not know exactly what it's going to look like for you, or really, you know, you might be thinking, what adventures do I want to do? You know, I'm not really sure. I think that I want to, you know, show the kids this skill that I have, or I think that I want to show them this part of the place that I live, but I have no idea how I would do that. I'd say apply for it and go, and you'll get the support along the way to be able to either come up with ideas or be able to really figure out how you're going to use your ideas in this platform. So I'd say definitely go for it, and you can get a lot of support on the way from this, not just from the staff, but also from the other adventure guides.
Who is your favorite Mimmy character?
Oh, that is a hard one. I mean, I'm just going to have to go with classic Mimi-chan, because she was there from the beginning. And every time she pops up, I'm just like, oh, it's Mimi-chan. And I just, you know, I feel a connection with her. But all of the characters are really fun and lovely. And they always do the yoga moves with us. But yeah, I think Mimi-chan, she was the original one that I knew. So 1, 2, 3.